thanks very much to all three of you. Very enlightening evening, I must say. Gordon, if I could just address your four, if you like, tenets of the Ulster Covenant: economic, political, religious, and imperial, if my memory serves me correctly. If you take the religious side of that, I wonder what the circumstances were religiously in the north of Ireland, if you like, from the point of view of Presbyterianism versus Methodist versus Church of Ireland or whatever, non-Catholic in other words. Is it fair to say that before the Covenant they might have been, if you like, sibling rivals or not as closely aligned as they subsequently became through the whole campaign of the Covenant?
I think the key factor is the disestablishment of the Church of Ireland in 1869. That removes a lot of the tension that would have existed between Anglicans and Presbyterians, and the disestablishment of the Church of Ireland is in fact one of those things that actually makes the Unionist alliance possible, or an awful lot easier than it would have otherwise been. I wouldn't deny that, like most people don't really attach very much significance, certainly within the Protestant community, to denominational difference. I would tentatively suggest that 100 years ago there would have been greater differences, but certainly the disestablishment of the Church of Ireland in 1869 removed an awful lot of the tensions which would have existed between Presbyterians and Anglicans.
And I think the religious factor is quite important, because there was a genuine fear amongst the Protestant community that there was a papal decree in 1907, 1908, and this was about the whole area of mixed marriage, and the classic case was the McCann case, and there was a sense, and this is in a sense probably why the Protestant community was able to unite despite the differences between Presbyterians and Anglicans and Methodists, that they felt that their basic religious freedom and the social aspects which were related to that freedom as a citizen were in danger of being eroded. Now, we might well, looking back at it 100 years on, think, well, I can't really understand that, but it was certainly a very, very strong feeling at the time. All you have to do is to read, as I have done, the columns of the Belfast Telegraph and the Northern Whig and the BNL, the newsletter at that period, and they're saturated with editorials denouncing this papal decree, and in a sense saying to its readership, this is a major problem. This is something, if we go ahead, if we go down this political avenue, these are the religious and moral repercussions of taking such an action. And I think it was a genuine fear, and I think it's something that should be made.
Certainly, the McCann case and the application of the Ne Temere decree to a case to Ireland, and the McCann case which followed from it in 1910, added an edge to Ulster Unionist resistance. There's no doubt about that. In fact, only about 18 months ago, there was a healing service in Townsend Street Presbyterian Church on the Peace Line, where Mrs. McCann worshipped, because, of course, she alleged that a priest had visited her home, had told her and her husband, who had been married in a Ballymena Presbyterian church some years earlier, that they were living in sin, would have to remarry in a Roman Catholic church in line with Ne Temere. And bring their children up strictly as Catholics. And her husband subsequently left, and she never saw her children again, 2 children under the age of 3, until only in recent years letters arrived from the United States, from McCanns, who are the offspring of these kidnapped children of 1911. And I mean, this became a major focus, a debate in the House of Commons, Protestant rallies in the sort of Rosemary Street Hall in Glasgow.
And the UWUC, the Ulster Women, the Unionist group, the Women's group were very much to the fore. They actually had a petition, I think, we were protesting about this. In a sense, that was a kind of something which obviously tested the water for the later, more significant petition.
And the Liberals were embarrassed that the Nationalists were unable to offer any kind of succour at all to Ulster Unionism on this issue. In fact, Joe Devlin said that Mrs. McCann was the greatest weapon to Ulster Unionism since William of Orange, So it is a major event. But the other point I was going to say was that in terms of pan-Protestantism, I mean, I would agree with Gordon that it probably accelerates with the disappearance of the established church and the requirement to pay tithe to an alien church, you know, the Church of Ireland, which had this privileged position until 1869. But the process had begun in 1834 at the famous Hillsborough wedding, when Henry Cook, the rising kind of Presbyterian divine, proclaimed the banns of a marriage between Presbyterianism and prelacy, the Church of Ireland, and warned Ulster Protestants that they must stand together against three evils: popery, liberalism, and nationalism. And so that movement is developing from the 1830s, but is cemented by disestablishment.